Well, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the podcast.
Yay! Hi, Jacob. It's so good to see you.
You too. How you been?
I've been doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's spring is springing
Right? It's
here.
been a mild winter, so hoping spring will actually come, or who knows? You get a blizzard all of a sudden.
Yeah. Winter number 2 and all that kind of nonsense.
It could still snow in May. It's the same out here in Vermont.
It can indeed. Saw my first turkey vulture today, which I'm ridiculously excited about turkey vultures. They're one of my favorite birds.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Just
they're
how
very cool.
you watch them from afar.
Well, see, a little known fact. I used to work with wildlife.
Oh, cool.
And so working with turkey vultures, they're not predators. Like when you deal with a pissed off gray horned owl or a pissed off red tail, you're dealing with a very sharp, pointy, dangerous animal who's pissed off at you.
Right.
And they're not prey. So like little rabbits, come in and they're like, crap, you're gonna eat me for dinner, and then they just die before you get a chance to do anything with them. Turkey vultures, they just like opossum and turkey vultures are like, what up?
Really? Yeah, I guess possums kind of look ferocious, but they don't do anything really.
They don't. They're like, what up? I got this wing thing. Can you help me with that? Or
I got
if
this
you
thing
got time.
stuck in my back leg here. That's cool. So did you do that for a while?
I did that actually for a long time. Yeah. So
Cool.
I resigned kind of out of doing it. Just not enough time, not enough money, not enough space. My infant mammal room turned into my kids' mammal room. So
the dedication to the animals is a lot of dedication, I would imagine.
It is. And but nobody told the animals that. So I still get to come home to a cardboard box outside of my front door once in a while. Peek in some cute little baby raccoons and
Right. Totally.
It happens.
Yeah, they'll come. I mean, if you're kind, the wildlife will somewhat get along. It all depends.
There's not many people. We need more people working with the wildlife.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a difficult job. So again, you gotta be dedicated. You gotta basically be out there with them all the time, right?
Yeah, and you gotta have the space for it, and know what diseases you can get and what food they need. It's a lot.
Right. Alrighty. Well, let's get into your musical background. How long you been doing this fiddle thing, or music in general, maybe?
Yeah. So my whole family is music in general. There's 6 kids in my family.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. And we're born girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. I'm number 5.
Whoa.
So I'm Bobby Brady.
Okay. That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, we're verse of the Brady Bunch. So my dad started us all on piano, all 6 of us.
Okay.
And then we could pick another instrument, we could switch to another instrument, but we all had to play something, practice 30 minutes a day until we graduated high school.
Wow.
Done deal. Law of the land, no argument. That was just my house.
Crazy.
So I started on piano. My younger brother, Cindy Brady, comes home with this little thing of they're starting violin classes at school. So we're like a year, some months apart in age. So we fought like cats and dogs over everything. We were just too close in age. Yeah. So if I got the blue whatever for Christmas, he had better get the red thing for Christmas, or we'd fight over it.
Right.
So my mom right away, oh, this is cool. I'll sign you up for it, and I'll sign Angela up for it too. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't say I wanted to play violin. And I was like, I know you guys. If I get Steve a violin, you're gonna fight over it. I'm gonna get you a violin too. So now me being the older one and able to do a little bit of math here, I'm like, crap, man, that's another instrument, which means another 30 minutes a day of practicing. So I'm like, swear to God, Mom, I'm good. I will not fight over another instrument. Swear to God, I will not fight over it. I'm good. Please, no violin. Well, she signed us up for it anyway, both of us. He drops out after 3 years, goes to clarinet, but for me, it was like third arm. It was just so natural to me, and I'm the only string player in the whole family.
Really?
So where it came from, I don't know.
How old are you at this point, or when you first started playing it?
So I started piano when I was 5.
Wow.
But I think I was 7 when I started. No, I must have been 6. I must have been 6 because I remember Jack Benny coming to our town and playing, and I was 8 years old then.
Okay.
So that was pretty
Cool.
cool. So hometown Waukegan, Illinois.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Waukegan.
Northern
Hometown of Jack
Illinois.
Benny.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so you were the only violin player out of 6. Were you the only string player, or?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Only string player.
then they
Everyone else
all
was.
did like what wins? Just anything you can think of, or?
So my dad's trumpet player.
Okay.
90 years old. He still plays if he can. He's
Wow.
got good days, bad days. My mom retired as a vocalist. But out of the siblings, it was trumpet, flutes, clarinets, 2 clarinets. We had French horn in there. Yeah, all different kinds of wind stuff.
Crazy. So
Me.
I guess you didn't jam much together. It was more like in the
Oh my
school
God.
thing, or you're the outcast. You're the fiddle
No,
outcast.
I was total outcast. So my dad being trumpet, both
Mhm.
he was classically trained, but also a great jazz player.
Right.
So he tried his whole entire life to get me to go off the page. He'd sit down at the piano, do this little boogie woogie. Hey, Ange, I'm an A. And here's me with my little violin. Hey. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot do this. I cannot. Like, he thought I'd be like next Stefan Grappelli or something.
Right. All of a sudden,
No, I was very classically taught. From when I was junior high up through high school, I had a run of Russian teachers, and it was, aren't you crazy girl? Why you play that note? Mozart not write that note. You don't play that note.
wow.
So-
Discipline.
To make stuff up,
Right. Improvise. No.
couldn't do it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I went to school at DePaul in Chicago. Another shout out.
Nice.
School of music, and that was the music teacher there would call me Angie Crazy Girl. And it wasn't even like hyphenated. It was just all one word, Angie Crazy Girl.
Nice.
So so he would yell at me a lot. But a friend of mine at DePaul knew of another guy, hi Eric Kinkle, who wanted violin on a track. And this guy had he was a jazz player, saxophone and flute and all kinds of woodwind stuff. So he's like, you should record with this guy. It's so easy. He like whistles. He doesn't read or write music. He whistles what he wants you to play. And I was just Suzuki born and raised, where the teacher plays and then you play after the teacher.
Right.
And I was like, I could do that. So I went and I did that. And we just recorded really quick together. And that was like my first
That's cool.
first CD.
Kind of like showing you the melody, and you just
Yeah,
do
he
it.
plays guitar and he like boo doo 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 doo. I would just play when he whistled.
That's cool. Right on.
Hit record, bam, done.
So was this at like the beginning or end of college?
So this was like towards the end of college.
So you've gone through all this classical training, and finally you're like, I could do something fun and kind of easy in a sense, right? Your ear was
Yeah,
good.
so-
Your ear was probably trained very well by then.
Right. Well, okay, so kind of.
Well, you get a shot to
I-
test it, right?
I can hear stuff and play stuff.
Yeah.
I was good at that.
Mm-hmm.
So the only non-classical piece I ever learned was Roy Clark playing Orange Blossom Special.
Ah, that's good.
Because my oldest sister came to me, her boyfriend came to me. He had gone to a garage sale, bought a Roy Clark album and the fiddle at the garage sale, and said, hey, can you teach me how to play that on this? I'm like, yeah, but you don't know how to play violin. He's like, oh, you can teach me that. So I spun that record, man, and it was like da da dee da 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 da, and learned Roy Clark's Orange Blossom Special,
Wow.
note for note for note for note, and then taught him how to play it. So this is still in Chicago. After college, I ran into a bar after playing a string quartet at a wedding. Had to pee really bad, so I like threw my violin, at the foot of the bar, went to the bathroom, came back, and here's a friend of mine that I'd known who, hi Jeff Ham, who he saw the violin. He's like, can you play that thing? And I was like, why, yes I can. So he's like, play me something. So in a little bar, I could have bored them to tears with a Bach.
Right.
So I put on Boston Special, and he freaked out. He's like, "You gotta play with me." I'm like, "Sure, okay, I could do that." So,
Awesome.
like stupidly thinking he's gonna tell me what to play, right? So
right.
So I get together with Jeff. He's playing these like kick-ass songs, man. One of the best songwriters I've ever known. And he looks at me, he goes, "This is your solo." I was like, "Okay, what do you want me to play?" Awkward silence. "I don't know. It's your solo." Oh crap, dude. Okay, here's the story. See, like I don't really play like that kind of vibe.
Right. Yet.
So he gave me all these CDs. He's like, "Okay, I like Steve Earle. I like Lyle Lovett. I like Dwight Yoakam." And he's
Nice.
giving me like all this oh my gosh, what's the Cliff Black? He's like I like all this kind of stuff. And Clint Black, not Cliff. Clint Black. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So turn on my little Suzuki ears. I go home and I'm listening to these CDs and I'm playing along with the CDs and learning a couple things. And I go back together with my friend Jeff and I get my Walkman cassette recorder.
Nice.
And I recorded us playing together. Take that home to my dad. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, I'm like, listen to this. I'm improvising." Now my dad's got like the white beard, and the head nod that all jazz players seem to have.
Like
and
you're
so
improvising, huh?
Yeah. So he gives it a good 30-second listen, and he goes, "Well, Ange, sounds like you learned about 2 licks and you're throwing them in every song." I was like, "Oh my God, isn't that obvious?" He goes, "Yeah. I mean, that one's in G and that one's in D." He says, "But that's the same lick."
Well, and when you first started out like that, or you're writing your own licks.
So now I'm finally like listening to my dad. Now I'm old enough, I'm interested enough to hear my dad when he says, you got to tell a story. You got to raise the question, and you got to answer it. Bring it back home. Like, tonic and dominant. I was like, "Well, yeah, I thought that was just like notes on the piano." He goes, No, man, that's the question. That's the answer. And you got to raise a little tension and hold that for a bit. And then you and bring it back home. Oh, yeah.
He sounds like a cool dude.
Very cool dude. Very cool dude. I learned a lot that day. I was finally in school that day.
That's crazy. All these years later.
I know, right? So
it's like full circle.
Yeah. So it's just been like goofing around ever since. And it's still a confidence thing for me. I need to work on it some more. I think confidence wise, I still find myself playing stuff like decades later where I'm like, "Oh God, note to self, never play that note in that song again. That was horrible. What was it? I should have flatted that." So and I'll still think of it like theory, analytical wise. Like I should have. I know I should flat the third and flat the seventh, blah, 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 and that was a blah note of the.
Then you start to over.
And then but then when I let go of that part of my brain, and then just start kind of like getting into it and listening to it and not analyzing it and what's the 1 and what's the 4 and what's the 5. Well, there's a relative minor. Okay, I got it. When I let go of that, then I can play. That's when I can like play the cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then sometimes something cool will come out, and I hope to God somebody recorded it because I want to learn it the next day because I have no idea what I just did.
Well, and that's, I mean, like you have it in you, but I guess it's, I mean, I can relate to that. It's almost like a matter of how you're feeling that day, if you're feeling the song, the venue, the crowd, all these things can be determining factors of how it affects your confidence. You know what I mean? So like, the more you're confident, obviously the better you're going to play. And that's like, I mean, I don't think we ever practiced. You always sounded great when you played with me. We did like 3 or 4 shows to the festival. That sounded great.
Well, okay, so
there's video of that.
Right? Yeah, cue the video. So here's one thing that I have learned. I'm 54 years old, and I still I don't care about my age. Age is like not a
thing. It's irrelevant.
But I mean, I've already said that I play with Jack Benny, so age myself appropriately from that.
You dated.
Yeah, I dated
Dated
the year he died.
reference.
Okay, I played with him April of '74. He came back to Waukegan, Illinois, my hometown, because we got a symphony together. That was the start, the inauguration of the Waukegan Symphony. And he came back and he played the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. That dude was like a seriously good violinist.
Crazy.
Not many people know that, but he really, really, really was. And he was playing for military buddies and made a mistake. And rather than get razzed by his military buddies to the grave, he turned it into a comedy routine. And it worked. So, but seriously, like I was a seriously good violin player.
So he's classically trained, and then wow.
And then he passed away that October. So that gives you some age reference there. But anyway, one thing that I've learned is that I'm still the violin is such a versatile instrument. It's like one of the closest things to the human voice that we have. So think about like everything we can do with our human voice, you can do on a violin. And so there's still a lot of genres I would love to get to know a little better. Like I would love to get that kind of rhythmic thing that Celtic fiddlers do with their bow. I sound a little too classically trained playing triplets. Triplet, triplet, triplet. I can't get the aggressive, rhythmic sound, that percussive sound that they do. So I'm going after that. Right on. I would like to get some jazz chops down, but truthfully, like my comfort zone is like playing with people like you. So
I think it shows you have like a definitely a strong hold on like songwriter, country, folk, bluegrass, because you've been doing it for a long while, right?
Right, and that clicked for that clicked for me. So I'm very comfortable doing that kind of thing.
So when you first like started, like you said, you listened to all those artists, Steve Earle, Dwight Yoakam, and started getting familiar with them. Was that like your first time really getting into country music towards the end of college? And then like,
before that, I thought it was a bunch of twang.
Right. Is it like, is it wrong to say in a sense, like a lot of country souls are almost like just a variation of the melody? You know how like they'll sing it and then it's like, especially like slide guitar style, the old Hank Sr. and what I mean? But like obviously you put it's almost like it can be a very extreme variation, but you almost like come back to it, those melody notes, you know what I'm saying? Was that something you recognized or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's why I was comfortable with it at first, because those old Suzuki ears.
You hear it, he sings, and then
I can listen to the melody and then just play the melody and throw some arpeggios in there.
Right.
when I first hear like first recordings that people did of myself, I was like playing arpeggios. It was so square.
Well, it's what you knew, and again, it's like it was what you were comfortable with at the time. So you're trying to like apply this classical background to some country
G-chord
stuff.
G chord. It's like people are like, you don't get out very much, do you?
It's like you gotta stick with these country folks. So did you kind of just like continue to play with multiple bands, or?
I stuck with Jeff Hamm for almost 10 years.
Cool.
He was my buddy. That
was your main gig, and were you also doing like teacher gig or through your college?
Teaching, also playing like string quartets, filling in for like different orchestras and stuff. So I always kept the classical side going. I feel like that keeps me honest.
Yeah.
But then the last couple of years playing with Jeff, I realized that I was only doing country then. So the orchestral stuff kind of fell to the wayside because I was making pretty good money, doing the fiddling thing. So
it's maybe a little more fun, maybe.
It did. It made it a lot more fun. You get to like drink at the same time. I don't get to do that at the symphony.
Yeah. Dancing while you're playing, maybe.
I get da 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 da. Go.
Right.
Da 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 da.
There you go.
It's kind of frowned upon. So so then I didn't do classical stuff for a good couple of years. And then I got booked for a string quartet thing, and I found myself kind of like sliding into notes during string quartets. I'm like, well, that's not good. Getting
too comfortable on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah. So now I have a good balance now, I think. So I moved up to Wisconsin in '96,
Okay.
and didn't do a lot of playing up here because I didn't know people up here. I didn't know orchestras up here. You know, a lot of it's who
New
people call me
area.
up there. Yeah. So nobody called me up here. So I didn't play for a long time. I was teaching a lot. So but
You
that was
teach elementary, middle school? What do you?
I teach private lessons.
Oh, just private. Okay, cool.
Yeah. My bachelor degree is violin performance.
Nice.
And I have to say violin performance. I was talking to a guy one time. This is hilarious. We were talking about college and stuff. I said, well, my degree's in violin performance. He looks at me kind of weird. He's like karate? Judo?
Performance.
What the hell are you talking about? And he thought I said violent.
Yeah, violent performance. Violent violinist.
Yeah. So I went to violin.
Well, the bow could be very violent, to be fair.
I'm like, who has violent performance? Because I want to check that program out.
Like, you get a degree in that? Violent performance? Okay.
So then after that, at DePaul, I did actually start my master's in music education. It was kind of the thing to do. Because you're already accepted, financial aid's already, in there. You just got to tag on some more stuff. My senior year, I got going on some of the graduate level stuff.
Okay.
So I started that, and then I found myself in a room of fourth graders in Chicago trying to teach them recorder as they're like pinking me in the forehead with spitballs.
Yeah.
And I put the little recorder down, and I'm like, nope, done.
Yeah, that's like that style music teacher. I don't know. It's a little rough.
Trying to
I
teach
can imagine.
kids who don't want to be there, not my gig.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the most important part. I mean, you got to want to learn your instrument or learn something,
Yeah.
But,
so I teach violin and piano lessons.
Cool.
And then one of the studios I teach at, they asked me about teaching viola. So for those of y'all who don't know, viola is slightly bigger than a violin. And they don't have the top E string.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the A, D, G, and then they go down another fifth to C.
That's right.
And they have their own clef. Own clef. It's alto clef.
Oh, alto clef. Jeez, I can't remember.
Yeah. So piano is treble and bass.
Mm-hmm.
And alto clef, the middle line is middle C, which falls right smack in between treble and bass clef. So it's that
looks
was
like the sense sign, right?
Yeah, it looks like a backwards 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's all. Well, I learned a violin, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. You had the smaller. The viola section was always slightly smaller. I guess they're kind of that in between because the violin are like the highest notes, and then middle, lower, bass, and cello.
Yeah, so they're like the altos in the choir who like kind of get like that same note throughout the la 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 la.
Right. They don't venture too far out. Which violin kind of you can go all over, I suppose. But.
Right. So there's good composers out there that have written some really, really good stuff for viola, and that's awesome. Because I love to hear it. It's a great range of instruments. So, but here's me, like getting to know viola a little bit before they started sending me students. And I'd be playing along because, a lot of it's, up a third, down a fifth, and I'm like going through stuff. And then all of a sudden, and I would just stare at the music. Like my whole computer would just shut down. And I'd have to reboot myself back up with middle line is middle C, which is third finger on this string, not that string. And then I could, so it gave me an appreciation actually for dealing with my adult students to approach the instruments. Because they say that the brain like learns foreign languages differently. Like kids pick up a foreign language more easily than adults. Here's me as an adult learning this new language of alto clef.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was
well,
good.
It's like you can
to do that.
You can absorb easier when you're younger, I suppose. So yeah, that would be challenging to pick that up a little later.
It was challenging. It was, but good. A good challenge.
Right, because then it just
very good challenge for me.
Helped you evolve more.
Yeah, it was my anti-Alzheimer's exercise for sure.
Ah, that's a good way to look at it. Which, yeah, music is definitely super powerful. Good for that.
It is.
Nostalgia is so powerful.
Yes, but there's actually a study done. I can't think of, probably medical college somewhere. I don't know who did the study, but there's a study done where they hooked up electrodes, all over people's heads and put them all through all different activities. Mm-hmm. Everything from like reading a book to exercising to doing the dishes to having sex.
Right.
Like to do that with electrodes glued to my head. And then playing a musical instrument and playing, not just singing, but actually piano or playing an instrument is the only thing that we do where all parts of the brain are firing at the same time.
Whoa.
Only thing we do, because we've got the motor neuron stuff, like you're pressing keys or you're strumming your guitar, so you've got muscles.
Right.
Going.
Yeah.
You've
physical,
got
the mental.
Yeah, you got the analytical, like the 1 chord. Now I go to the 4 chord. Now I go to the whatever, and so you've got that analytical math part of your brain going, and then you got all the emotional stuff going. Oh yeah, it's the only thing we do.
That's incredible.
Yep. So if ever I
but
run
it makes
into
sense.
Yeah. So whenever I run into anyone, oh, you teach? Oh, I always wanted to play violin. I always wanted to play piano. Freaking do it.
What's stopping you?
Do it.
I know.
See you next Tuesday, 6:00. Open. Yours.
I mean, that's what it takes, the initiative to actually do it, because it's everyone has the ability to. Maybe, like you said, some people pick it up more naturally like you did, but
yeah.
Geez, I wonder what, if you play 4 or 5 instruments at once, what that does for your brain. I do that quite often.
And if you do all having sex, man, you got like everything going.
Yeah, right. That's crazy. I want to look up this experiment.
You do play like 5 instruments at one time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I always tell people, the less I think, the easier it is. Like the more I try to think about, what limb am I moving? That's when I screw up. Right? It's just like let it flow. Don't think about it, and that's usually the best show.
Brain ever.
I hope so. That's probably saving me mentally in some ways, many ways. I always got that, right? But I can't. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. I can't do the physical aspect of it forever. Of that, kind of like a drummer.
Right.
Drummer's another, very intense thing. You're kind of doing 4 or 5 things at once, but you're not doing like chords, I guess. But it's all different. Yeah, all right, let's get back on this. No, all right. So you're in the Wisconsin, new to the area. You're teaching lessons. Occasionally, you're playing with symphonies. Maybe doing occasional private gigs.
Actually,
not a quartet.
Just teaching.
Just teaching.
That's all I was doing. And then got hooked up on Facebook.
Oh, so this is a while later.
That was a long time. So then, so I didn't like play out or play any kind of thing, anything heavy for a long time. And actually before that, I played with a band in Madison. I saw an ad. I started to get the itch for it. I'm like, I gotta.
Just like early 2000s-ish, or?
This is, yeah. Yep. So I see the ad up at the music store for band looking for, and I wish I wrote it down what it said, looking for like banjo or violin or harmonica or like some other like weird obscure instrument. And I was like, well, if they're looking for something that obscure, I'm probably their girl.
Right. It doesn't say fiddle, but
right.
Take my chances.
That was the Rickershams.
Okay.
So love playing with those guys. That was awesome. And they had like just done all their promo shots, just did their first CD, and then I joined the band. But at least I had a CD to learn from.
Right, right.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we played around Madison for a while. That was a heck of a lot of fun. I think my favorite memory from the we practiced on State Street in Madison. There was a store there called it was an audio store.
Shoot, I know you're talking Exclusive Company. Is that it?
No.
Music store? Oh, you're saying like an audio like equipment?
Yeah.
Oh,
shoot, can't think of the name of it. Anyway, we practiced up above there. You know how they have apartments up above the stores.
Oh, I
That was
thought you
our
were like
practice.
busking maybe. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, no, we had it. That was the Rickersham's practice space was that apartment. So we could leave the drums up there. All our amps were up there. It was really, really sweet. So, but
Nice.
one of my favorite, and we've been playing for like a couple of years. We're getting, we're pretty solid. We're getting a lot of good gigs. We're playing all over the place. And we come out to this one bar. We walk in to set up, and here's like all the little blue-haired little ladies like two-stepping around, and I hear the drummer behind me as we're all loading our crap, and he goes, "Oh, this wasn't the place I was thinking of." I was like, "What do you mean, dude?"
What?
So,
Wow.
he booked it over the phone, and so we're like walking into this bar. We were pretty like good like rock band with me. So we're playing, and these little like blue haired little ladies are trying to like two step to us, and we were like kind of too rocky for them. And we had this one song that we were like Tracy Color Heat. She wrote, she's a great songwriter, but she played this one song where it was like kind of like kick it in and it would stop, and then kick it in and it would stop. And these little blue haired ladies are like throwing daggers at us because they're like, "We just want to dance. Please."
Give us something with some rhythm. That's simple.
It was horrible. It was
Two
horrible.
step,
We get to our
two
first
step.
set. I don't even think we got to our first set break when like the owner, the bartender, I don't know who he was, he gets on stage and he grabs Tracy's microphone. And he's like, "Hey, why don't we give these kids a hand? They've been practicing real hard." And we're like, "We're out." Unplug our shit and get out of here. Let's go find the bar you were thinking about. Let's go play there. That was crazy. That was funny. So then after that, that band, just stuff happened.
Right.
Somebody had a baby, someone else had this, and switching jobs, and so it just, I guess we were all kind of growing up.
Right.
And went our separate ways. So then I didn't play for a long time, and it was after that then on Facebook that I just got out of the blue. The king of kings of coming out of the blue, Owen Mays, shoots me a message, and shoots me a message and says, "Hey," it was this really like sweet little introduction little thing. "Hey, so I'm a guitar player and I live in Wisconsin. I see you live in Wisconsin, and I write songs. And I was asked to play in a compilation CD, and I'm just wondering, would you like want to come and play, violin on one song?" We never met each other, never heard each other, and just cold turkey. Found me on Facebook and noticed I played violin and I lived in Wisconsin. That was it.
That's wow. The power of
So
Facebook.
I'm like, yeah, sure, dude. I'll go do that. So like I'm all nervous about it, and my husband's like, "Well, what is this? Where are you going?" So he like drops me off so he can meet the people.
You met someone on the internet, huh?
He's all, yeah, right. So he's all protective of me. It was so cute. And so that's how I met Owen Mays, and we recorded the one song, and Jesse Kaftansky was the bass player. So we get done with this one song, and just it's just such a nice following the old school country tradition.
Yeah, totally.
Songwriting. So it just clicked. We just clicked, and it just recorded nice and easy. And we get done playing, and Jesse leans over. He goes, "I got a band too."
He's like, "You're pretty good."
And that's how I met the Mad Polecats. And just like ever since that fateful day, man.
That's crazy. So what was the song?
It's been one big fun party. Oh God, what song did we do? I should know that answer. I don't know. It was Outlaw Radio Chicago.
Okay. I remember them. Yeah, cool.
Yep. Yeah, it was so much fun. So so then Owen knows everybody.
Right.
He loves everybody. And I just met lifelong friends. I've met all these lifelong friends.
Yeah, like a circle of musicians. Yeah, that's crazy. So wait. So this was like early days of Facebook or 08, 09 or something?
Yeah, like 2010.
2010. Okay, so a decade ago now. Time flies.
I know. It's been like 10 years. It feels like it's been a lot longer than that because I've done so much and met so many people. Since then, it feels like it's been my whole life all along. And that's a good thing. I mean, that is a good thing.
So it's almost like you've been since that day or that time period, you've been almost actively playing with, kind of country, bluegrassy folks.
Yeah.
Just sporadically, or was it kind of like Owen was the main one for a while, or
Owen was the main one for a while. But then he got busy touring all over the country. And my daughter was born in 07. So I wasn't really into, taking off for weeks at a time.
Right.
With my little girl at home. So, mom first.
Totally.
Mom first.
Family first.
So, but I played with Owen all over around here. We went down to Tennessee, Muddy Roots.
Nice.
And played there together. I think it was the second year of Muddy Roots, maybe third year of Muddy Roots. 2011, I believe. So we go down there. And I had done some gigs with Owen, but didn't really know him that well at this point. And so here I'm like, but I was crazy enough and into it enough. And my husband's like, just go do it. It's a weekend, go do it. So here I am thinking, my God, what are we going to talk about in the car? Me and this guy that I barely know driving
11-hour drive or something, 12-hour. Like, we did a couple shows, but
right.
It's kind of like that's how you're friends, like, or that's your interactions, just the gigs, and you only talk like what in the beginning, in the end, in the middle. You don't actually get that extra.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of like what we're doing now, right? I mean, this is extra. What we're doing now.
I know, it was a lot extra. And the whole way down, oh my God, I never laughed so much in my entire life. Owen was the king of like impersonations.
Oh, nice.
Oh, he could impersonate people. So he is, and he knew the backstory of everybody. Because he was just that guy. He was that guy that knew all the stories that you could confide in. He was just that guy who was like there, like when it actually happened, kind of a guy. So I'm getting all the backstories on all these people. I am all you people. And he's doing impersonations of them so that when I got there, I'm unpacking the car, I could hear voices behind me and knew who they were. Oh my God, and knew who the ex was, and knew how they stiffed that person, and knew how they.
Right. You're like, all right, now I'm already into this. I'm comfortable. Get the backstory of the whole crew.
It was pretty awesome. It was so fun. That whole weekend was just so fun. And not only was it, the playing on the stage part of it, but it was a typical festival where, the stage is closed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, let's all go up to the campground.
Oh, yeah.
Till 4 or 5 o'clock. And, and
those are some of the best jams. Those are some of the best jams around the campfire. So did you end up playing with any other bands at the festival, or just besides the campfire? Or?
Actually, I did. So through Muddy Roots, so I went there a couple of years in a row. I got to play with Ray Lawrence Jr., who, he has a song on Hank 3's Ghost to Ghost.
Yeah. That's how I know him from.
Yeah. Fabulous songwriter. So I got to play with him. I got to play with Slaughter Daughters. I'm trying to think of Rickett Pass out of Michigan. And then also just not playing like with them on their sets, but if JB Beverly or Jake Orvis or trying to think of who else, James Honeycutt, like these guys are getting pulled up on stage. Sometimes I get pulled up on stage too, and it'd be like, "Hi, James, my name's Angela," and I love James. Like we're like friends now. But just to meet these people, just get thrown up on stage with them, just.
And you were like semi. Well, besides what Owen gave you the down low. But you were like semi-familiar prior to all this, like
right.
Like Muddy Roots, cool. And then you're like, whoa,
right.
I'm thrown into this world.
Obviously, classically trained, girl. But I came home and I remember first time my husband John heard me playing after that weekend. He was like, "Holy crap, man! You came back from that like 10 times better player."
Wow.
Because you go down
it can happen that quickly, yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's language immersion, that whole language thing. So I'm playing, but I'm also like the sponge.
Yeah, you're just like in it. You're just absorbing and.
Oh yeah, well, Ralph Stanley Jr. played there. Not Del. I was gonna say Del Shannon, Del McCurry, Jason.
Oh yeah.
One of my
Travel
favorite
McCurry's. Yeah.
So they know all these like huge headliners, So it's just.
That's
play all
awesome.
day, and then you like go and watch these great people and try to like figure some of it out back at your tent later.
Right. Taking those mental notes and like
Yep.
sound clips in your head, sort of thing.
A lot of fun. But after doing that though, that's when Owen was started to tour more.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, well, you remember Jesse, the bass player from, his band, Owen Mays and the 80 Proof Boys, which I was kind of funny because it was like 80 Proof Boys. Oh yeah, and her.
And girl, boys and girl.
That girl over there.
Single ear.
Yeah. So Jesse is the lead singer of the Mad Polecats.
Right.
So Mad Polecats then kind of became my home base Wisconsin band.
Nice.
And when Owen would come through town, then I'd be Owen's fiddle player when he was in town. Then he'd head off to the other coast, and I'd do Mad Polecat stuff again.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
And okay, so then was Mad Polecats since like 2011, or was it slightly
about the next year?
Later, next year or so, 2012-ish, or
yeah. 2011, 2012 then is when I really got steady with them. And again, they like just done their first CD, just done like all their big promo shots. So it's
you got something to go off of, but you're not in.
I know, right. So, but then you play shows, and people are like, "Hey, would you sign the CD?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not on that CD." Would you sign like the CD? Dude, I'm not on that CD either. It's like I like the witness protection program of fiddle players.
Yeah, right. But eventually, you got on both of their CDs, right?
Yes. Well. So what we did was because then we kind of solidified. It became a nice, good, solidified thing for a while there, to where the fiddle became part of their sound.
Yeah, So the main lead.
So what we did was that Mark Goldie at Rock Garden Studio, he's the one that did the first CD, Rostabilly, pulled up all those tracks, and I went in there and played over all the original tracks, and then we added a bonus track at the end. And then released it as Rostabilly 2.0.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And he did a really good job where, there was just Bobby Evans was a guitar player on that. And Bobby's such a great player. And he's a great musician, because he plays where there's something to play.
Right.
And then he leaves space to breathe. And then he'll play when there's something to play. So there was like so much opportunity for me to weave in and out of that. So it wasn't like they like turned down someone else's track and like turned me up.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't replace anybody. I got added to it.
Well, and so then you'd already been playing these songs for a while, and could go in and like just kind of nail them because it was like second nature at this point.
Yep.
That's cool. That's a great idea. A cool way to do it and call it 2.0. And then they make everything else sound a little better too by remastering and all that stuff.
And they had talked about like releasing it as something totally new, and I'm like, but it's not really totally new. So my idea was to bring up the original cover, the cover art, which was their instruments leaning up against a barn door. And I was like, okay, I got an idea here. Keep that cover, but behind their instruments on the barn door, I wanted to have like a spray painted on graffiti fiddle. So to be like I walked up to their album and like tagged myself in it. That kind of.
Now I'm included. Yeah. Put my stamp on it.
Right. So I talked to like 3 different graphic artists about this idea. All great artists, but they would send me back something that just looked too perfect. Like one of them came back with this like beautiful colored sky blue violin, and it had the F holes, and it just had all the detail of a violin on it. And our washboard player Justin, he's like, "My God, it looks like you died. And this is like in memory to you, like here." So I'm talking to like the third guy, and I'm like, I want it rough. I want it like I spray painted it, like old school spray paint. Like kind of like runny, because maybe I like.
You're almost like covering up their logo in a sense. You're almost trying to tag over them.
And kind of running up that look. So he's like, you have a very, obviously a very clear idea what you want in your head. Can you like draw something out? shoot me what you've got in your head. So I didn't have any paper. My family was gone out to something, and so I'm having a couple of beers, and I had like paper plates. Like, so here with my Sharpie from the merchandise bin, like my little Sharpie, like crap. It's hard to draw a violin. Do you know how many,
I know.
Dolly Parton looking like violins I have, or like the top part's like too big and.
Yeah. Well, you got to do the same pattern, and it's like intricate in its own way. I'm gonna look up this roster.
So I finally ended up with this like thing I was happy with, and just drew lines out with balls at the end for the tuning pegs, and screenshot it on my phone, sent it to this guy. He's like, "That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Could you draw like a bow across it?" I'm looking at all these empty Budweiser bottles, and I'm like, dude, you want me to draw a straight line? Do you know how many the floor is like scattered with paper plates? I didn't want to wreck it, but I did it, and then so that's the picture that's on the. He actually used my artwork on the CD cover. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh, that is cool though. But it came out how you wanted it in your head for the most part.
It did.
That's
it just came out rough and not good art because I'm rough and not a good artist.
So, you got like any favorite tracks on that album, or the revamped version, I should say?
Probably my favorite would be the bonus track that we did. That's "Dark Days Indeed."
Okay. Cool.
Dark Days Indeed. So we covered that and did it, and I'd never even heard of the song before. The guys had already been doing the song, and so they knew there's this trumpet part in the original song. Got to throw that in there. So I had that part to go by. Everything else I just kind of made up, and it's just like one of my favorite things. And it's the only song I have. You can ask our drummer that I like a faster tempo to it, because it's a gypsy punk kind of feel to it that I like to add.
Yeah,
having the violin, doing that.
Yeah.
So I'll start. If it's too slow, I just start jumping on the stage. I'm like
speed this up.
Follow me. This tempo.
You're the composer all of a sudden. You're like, come on, guys.
Right? I just start jumping. So, but that's the only one I want. A specific speed.
Yeah. What would you say the overall sound is of Mad Polecats? Kind of like, is it like a gypsy folk or punkish?
Well, so it started out a lot more reggae-ish feeling.
Right, like Rastabilly.
Yeah. So we had the first album was Rastabilly, and then Rastabilly 2.0, and then the second CD is called Skunk Grass.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
With Polecat being another name for skunk, we kind of had this skunk motif going. We were just all black and white. It was a sharp looking kind of cool shtick thing that we had. And so it was kind of funny on Reverb Nation that we would become like the number one reggae band on Reverb Nation. And we're all like, with fiddle and banjo and a washboard. And we're like, that's not bad for a bunch of white bluegrass players.
Yeah, right.
And then pretty soon at Reverb Nation, like we become like this, like we get rated like bluegrass on Reverb Nation. Right. We're like, well, that's not bad for a bunch of reggae players.
So you're just in between.
So yeah, I mean they cover anything from Johnny Cash to Led Zeppelin and Jethro Tull and NOFX, and we do Beyonce. We do people that I had to like Google and see what the heck. Never heard of these artists. I felt kind of old, but it keeps me on my toes. That's why I love playing. But we make it all our own.
And so it's all because it's all in your own kind of punk folk style, reggae punk.
Right. It's not cover tunes. We are not cover tribute band material.
And with those type of instruments, it definitely gives you that element to be that. Put your own twist on it, I should say.
Yeah.
Spin on it.
Yeah. Right. My favorite part is like watching the audience, and at some point, every demographic of person gets like the like, oh God, what is this song? I know what this song is. And then finally they elbow their neighbor. Oh yeah, it's that tune, and they're like, oh okay, that sounded familiar. So we like doing that.
That's cool. And you guys get people moving, get people dancing.
Yep.
And so, how many albums did they have total?
2.
Okay, so skunk
Well,
grass and
Rockabilly was done twice.
right, which we obviously know what the better version is, with the spray painted violin on it.
Right?
And where can you find the Mad Polecats on the interwebs?
Yeah, we're basically a Wisconsin band. We've not
Right.
done a lot of out of the state stuff, but we're all full-time employees elsewhere and families and
And you go pretty far in Wisconsin, though. You go.
Oh yeah, all over the place. So the best place to check for us is on Facebook.
Cool. And you can still are on Reverb Nation, a reggae bluegrass.
Yep.
Okay. Right on. That's cool.
Whatever you want to call it. And then through them, another band to look out for. I don't play with them very regularly because they reach out even more than I go. But there's another band called Dig Deep.
Oh, that's right. They're the old
Ditch Runners.
Ditch Runners.
So I got to play with the Ditch Runners.
Awesome.
And yeah, so there was kind of a parting of ways in that band.
Right.
And me being Switzerland, I love them all. Stay friends with them all.
Yeah.
So I got to play with Dig Deep. One song on their first CD. Tune I'm on is called Desire to Decapitate. Desire to Decapitate. It's a real cheerful song.
Goes with the theme. Dig Deep.
It's a real cheerful song. And then they just they're releasing now. It's out now. Is their second CD.
And you're recording.
And I'm on 3 tunes on that one.
Nice. Where'd you record it at?
That got recorded at Brian Wheeler's place. I'm trying to think of the name of the studio. Brian Wheeler, and he's an excellent recording artist. Out of his home, it's awesome. But he built this studio in the house. I mean, you could do the whole Pet Detective guy where he's like,
soundproof, yeah.
That scene where he does that.
Yeah.
It's like soundproof. I mean, it's a professional studio in the dude's
That's
basement.
And you could totally do that nowadays. Like, you get the right equipment, know what you're doing. And the music speaks for himself. The recordings.
It's so fun.
Awesome.
So we recorded that, and proud to say, Dig Deep, it got nominated for a Whammy. That's the Wisconsin Area Music Industry Award for Bluegrass Band for this year. So we'll find out. They win.
It's because of one of your songs.
Yeah, entirely because of me.
Are they a 4-piece or 5-piece?
They're 4-piece.
So you make it the 5th and give that little extra fill.
Yeah. I'm the 5th wheel whenever I can. When the stars align.
Are they like banjo, mandolin, acoustic guitar, stand up? Cool. All right. So those bands are both awesome, and especially I kind of knew. I knew them like as Ditch Runners before they did, and then I've been staying up with the Dig Deep thing. They're doing pretty good. They branch out pretty far too.
Well, they're crazy busy.
Yeah,
crazy busy.
And when you got the manpower to do it, and the momentum of the bluegrass, you can go places quickly.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, they're a heck of a lot of fun. They get my inner grunge out.
Nice. Got to get it out. Got to express it.
Got to get that inner grunge out once in a while, They get this little old lady here, like kind of headbanging.
Nice.
When Oscar releases the hair, and the hair starts head whipping around. I can't do that.
I think it's safe to say you've gone beyond the classical stereotype. You've evolved into your country.
I hope I did. I hope I did, and I'm still trying. I'm still trying. Still gonna go for it. Still going for it. Thing that keeps me honest, I play with Beloit Janesville Symphony Orchestra. So I'm down in your stomping grounds all the time.
That's right. Man. Yep. You did that thing not too long ago with my buddy Matt. He was your soloist.
Yep.
Which was an awesome night, I was told. He likes to show off. Oh, Matt. Matt's very similar when it was challenging for him to get out of the classical thing too, Or he's super critical on
it is. That's why I like the balance of it. I have to do a little violin and then a little fiddle. So I actually do play violin and fiddle.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you are both. You're a violinist
and
a fiddle player. Oh, that's it. All right. Cool. Nice background.
Gotta have a little balance.
Actually, let's backtrack a little. How much did you end up recording with Owen?
So Owen, oh my gosh, he did a couple of CDs that I was on. I joined him after he did his first CD.
Right, this coincidence
He
keeps
had
happening.
phenomenal players. He had phenomenal players on his first CD. And then we did a couple more as 80 Proof Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a name change to once he realized that the 80 Proof Boys were two sober guys and a girl.
Like, wait a second, guys.
But we had Eric Vestal, we had Pete Pongo playing. It was just like, and they don't drink, and I'm a girl. So it was the name change. So we had the name change of Owen Mays and the Last Calls. And and then he started up him and Eric, and Eric's wife Amanda. Eric and Amanda are they also do recording.
Cool.
Fabulous musicians, but they also can do recording. And so then they started up a label called Maybest label.
Oh, nice.
And he was getting a couple of artists that he was recording. So I got to be the house band fiddle player on some other stuff. And
what?
And then Owen left us way too soon.
Yeah, when was that? It was 5 years ago, or?
5 years ago. 5 years ago.
That's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, yeah, that's like that's when I first met Grizzly, actually. But yeah, I always kind of like knew Owen through inner circles, and I saw him perform at least once in Madison, I believe at what's the place up north, or no, the
Wisco?
Wisco, yeah, that's it. What was I thinking? North Wisco? Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, he had a really great, like, old school kind of homage to the Hank Sr. sound.
Yep.
That drinking country. Yeah, exactly. And he just
throw a yodel once in a while.
He was a bigger guy, but he had like a very full voice and sound, and
he had a great voice. And you know what I just love about Owen? He wasn't the perfect anything.
Right.
And he knew that. He took ownership of that. But it's just his persona, his just big heart, just the way he treated people. He would write. Sometimes it wasn't the night of a gig because he wasn't in like the shape to do it. But within a day, that guy would write the longest thank yous right there on Facebook. Down to like the sound guy, the bartenders, the people that showed up that he hadn't seen in a while, people in the audience. So thankful, so gracious. I miss him so much. Just in that respect, a role model that we should all.
Yeah. Gone too soon, and rest in peace. How old was he? He was pretty young.
32.
Oh man! Wow, that's whoa. That's
yeah.
Great. That's crazy because that's my buddy. Died the same year at the same age. So, in January of that year. So yeah, Washburn player. That's crazy.
Yeah,
too young.
Miss him every day. So at his funeral, we had I'd called back like all of our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played some good old, Taking the Highway Home and all these like good old tunes, and I looked around the circle and I just started bawling my eyes out because here I'm surrounded by like Liz and Jared, who are urban pioneers now, and the Dig Deep guys, and just all these people that are like my lifelong. They're my family. These people are my family now, and it's because of Owen.
Right.
And I'm gonna start crying again. But it just hit me how my little web of life really just like grew.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's kind of incredible how it goes like hand in hand with the music, because it seems like it kind of fell into place, and then you're just like welcome into this circle. Yeah. I was like, where you guys been all my life? You know what I mean?
You're right. I know. Well,
like, why haven't I been playing with you earlier? The last whatever.
Way longer than 10 years that I've known these people. It's just
right. Maybe the past lives and all that fun stuff.
I believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we inherit some things, so relationships can definitely be one of them.
Yep.
What about so you did 2 albums with them, or you just kind of? How many albums did he put out?
2 albums of just Owen stuff. and then we
Cool.
did some other stuff
With
together, like
at the
stuff and
Okay. And you got any like favorite songs or highlights with Owen or
oh my gosh,
what's just
he
something that a song
he
that instantly reminds you of him or I don't know.
oh probably his Patch and Pray. He went
Okay.
on a tour one time where I think he had 7 flat tires.
Wow.
So he wrote a song called Patch and Pray, because he just these great songwriters that just a thing happens and like before you know it, it's just a song and I'll try to write a song for a year, nothing happens. I don't have that gift. So that's
Right.
probably one of my favorite songs of his.
It's real, it's genuine, it's
It's
authentic.
great.
It's awesome.
It's talking the talk and walking the walk, man.
Right?
That guy was not a poser.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I think that showed too, and you can hear it in his music. I think you can kind of hear when someone's being genuine or not. You know what I mean?
yeah, he was a real
It
deal. He
comes
didn't.
from
He
the
didn't.
heart.
Yeah, he's not like today's country where they're talking about
Oh God,
tractors and and all this crap they've never like done. But hey, you look pretty good in a pair of Wranglers. Got that going for you,
keep this John Deere image going.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
God,
the fashion show,
that's a whole nother podcast talking about new country.
right? But
But
speaking, I just happen to like joke about Nashville, but talking about Muddy Roots in Cookeville,
mm,
give a shout out because they got ripped to shreds with a pretty
oh,
bad. I got a lot of friends down there, so I'm glad
that's right.
none of my friends got hurt. Thank goodness for that. So some
Yeah,
houses
yeah,
trashed. There was, they got their stuff trashed, but
yeah. I actually had some friends down there too, but yeah, everyone was safe. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
everyone that I know is. I mean, obviously there's people who died, but everyone I know
Right.
is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty.
Not to bring a downer to our conversation.
No, it's all good. We could always edit things, but
Take
let's
that part out.
we've
I did a downer moment, will you?
we've hit some high notes here, both literally and I was looking up the Rostabilly.
Oh,
I was looking up the Rostabilly thing. I'm gonna do something cool with that. Okay, what's like a musical highlight? What's like the coolest besides Muddy Roots? Maybe like one of the cooler big venues, opening for someone, playing with someone.
okay. So yes, and this happened just recently. Bill Miller,
Mm,
Nashville artist, Wisconsin boy, born and raised Menominee
mm,
Res here in Wisconsin, but he lives in Nashville now. He's won 3 Grammys, I think now. Saw him at Indian Summer 20 years ago. Been total fangirl ever since. I got to sit in with him one time because he was playing a benefit concert with my buddy Eric Kinkle, and so I got to sit in and play a couple of tunes, and very exciting. And then that was about 10 years ago. He was playing in Brooklyn, Wisconsin. There's a new music venue there called Music and More. Main Street Music and More, Brooklyn, Wisconsin.
cool.
Check it out. It's a nice venue.
Right.
So yeah, you got to play there. When you're in town, tell me when you're coming through town. I'll get you booked there.
Where's
So
Brooklyn, Wisconsin?
by Oregon.
Uh,
When I first heard of it, I had in my brain Brookfield, not Brookfield. It's Brooklyn.
so is it like
So
near you?
west of Fort Atkinson. Yes, they've only been around for like
Oh, okay,
4 months. It was an antique shop until like 3-4 months ago.
Okay, cool. All right,
And they're
continue.
really building
I will
it
look
up.
into it for sure.
Yes. I'll message you about that. so anyway, they had built Bill Miller book there. So my husband stops by to buy tickets because he knew I'd wanna go, and he got talking to the people there. We're friends with the owners. One of the brothers of the owners works with John, my husband. So he's got talking, and he comes home. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play with Bill Miller? You should play with Bill Miller." I was like, I would love to play with Bill Miller, but I don't know the dude. It's not like I can be like, "Hey, Bill."
Yeah,
I'll be
right.
like, "Who are you again?"
Like, I already know all of his songs, but
So long story short, I did get the opportunity. Bill said, like, yeah, she could sit in with me. So I went to the sound check the next morning, And I'm all like, whoa, like starstruck and stuff because I adore him. Right. And he's playing some songs. He's like, well, yeah, let's do this. This is kind of a nice, good, easy tune. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then he mentioned one of my favorite songs that he does called Ghost Dance. He's like, you know Ghost Dance? And I'm trying not to be like all like fangirl. I'm like, yeah, I know that song. And so I'm like, that's like my fucking favorite song. Oh, wait, can I swear? Sorry.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
No, say whatever you want.
I love
Freedom.
That song. Love that song. So he's like, well, yeah, just you should play on that one. And he starts playing Ghost Dance. And I'm like, holy crap, we're playing on Ghost Dance. And
awesome.
So we got it started. He goes, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Like levels are checked. Like, yeah, that'd be good. Okay, I'll see you tonight. And on the drive home, I'm like, crap, I never asked him how he's like going to end the song. Because he doesn't have violin on the recording of this song. So I had nothing to kind of like model myself after or whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'll just get on. So I like went home and like obsessed about that song, about Ghost Dance. I was on YouTube for 5 hours. My daughter Olive was like, Mom, stop. I'm like, can't. And I found a version where he just does this like really fast guitar thing at the end. And so I'm trying to like time that out. I'm trying to like play along with it. I'm like, okay, I got my one lick. I think I want to do at the end. I'm gonna play that over and over and over and over and over. So I can like, end with like this one thing I want to play. I got totally obsessed over this thing.
Right.
So get to the show that night, and he'd say, okay, your stuff's gonna be second set. I'm like, cool. So about halfway through his first set, and I'm sitting back in the back with Olive and John, and about halfway through the first set, he's like, yeah, I don't know how many of you know Angela. He looks around, is Angela here? I'm like, I'm back here. Yeah, so Angela's like a violin player, and she's gonna be playing with me a second set. But you know what? I'm thinking of a song. I think you should play now. And I'm like, now, crap, now. So I go up there, not knowing what he's gonna do. Now just really panicking because I spent 5 hours on the song I did know.
Right.
So because where we're playing, it was just Bill and just me, and not and people like seated looking at you.
Listening room, acoustic.
Yeah, like that listening room vibe.
Songwriter. Yeah.
$20 to get in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to refund half y'all's ticket because just let me apologize right now. Yeah, it was like ticket buying, seated, eyes on you,
right?
Kind of a show. And so Bill starts playing Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison, but in G, not E that I'm used to playing it in. So which
gotta adjust. I
have like no finger pattern. It's not like I could just like go up a string or down a string. It was like totally different. So, but he starts out kind of bluesy, slow version of it. And I'm like, okay, I can hang with this. I can do this. And then he does like 2 verses, I think. And then he like kicks it like double fast. And I'm like, what the crap? And I like just panicked the whole time. I'm talking about swearing and cussing underneath my breath. I was so scared. So scared the whole time. But at least after that song, I wasn't so nervous about Ghost Dance anymore.
Right. You just let it all out and you're like, okay, this is easy. Well, you pulled through the song, though. You pulled through the Folsom song, right?
What's that?
You pulled through that song.
I did. It was okay. So here's something that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning to deal with, is that I usually fly off the cuff with solos. It's pretty rare that I have a planned solo that I play the same way in that song every time we do that song. I usually do kind of goof around a little bit. But in recording and playing something where people are like listening, or even when I'm just playing off the cuff, I get a sound, I get a lick, I get a fiddler that I'm trying to channel.
Right.
Please doesn't sound like Jason Carter now. And when it doesn't turn out the way I had planned or I'd heard in my head, it's like trash. To me, it's like fail. That was like horrible. So it's taken me a long time to like, and still accepting that just because it wasn't what I had in my head doesn't mean it was bad.
Yeah, well, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah. Well, it's just because I had planned this, but it
Right,
came out as
right.
that, and
And
because it didn't come out like this, it came out like that. I'm like, well, it wasn't that, so it's
it
not what
doesn't
I
mean it doesn't automatically make it bad. It just means it wasn't what was
wasn't what
originally
I planned.
planned.
Wasn't what I
And then
heard.
like a lot of times when you think maybe it wasn't your best, everyone else is telling you how great your performance was after
Yeah,
the show.
yeah,
Like that
and
was
so
awesome.
yeah. So do you find that when you go back, like if it shows up, on Facebook or YouTube or something, you go or somebody recorded it, you go back and listen, and you're like, yeah, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah, well, it's like I think obviously, yeah, we hear the flaws the most, but like even in those moments when someone captures that, I'm like, oh, you should hear me when I'm good or when I feel
Yeah,
good about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's still, yeah, it doesn't sound bad. It's still like
you should hear those
musically
in my head.
correct. Yeah, exactly. In which it's almost like you only get those moments, I don't know, every now and then, especially like a live performance of like really what
Yeah,
you want in your head. You know what I mean? Like as a singer, I've always felt like I keep getting closer to this voice that I want to sound like, and it's been like years of like not getting closer and closer. You know what I mean?
interesting.
So,
Yep,
and
yep.
it's just like practice, and it just comes naturally of just performing so much and practicing and writing. I would assume it's a similar thing with the violin, especially how we were saying earlier. It's kind of like a vocal,
Yeah,
style
yeah,
of an instrument. I would say like a lot of winds are very similar too, but fiddle's probably like the main kind of string that kind of can flow like a voice, but also can
right.
like slide like a slide.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know
because
what I mean?
we're
Yeah.
fretless, and you can, just the nuances of the vibrato, even the nuances of pitch
Yeah.
that I can
Yeah.
bend a little bit. I remember getting into a discussion around the dinner table with my dad, and I think it was actually my dad was at a rehearsal. I was like, ho ho ho, like this guy didn't know that C sharp is the same as C. Like he didn't know that, ho ho ho, and I was like, so we got talking about like A sharp's the same as B flat, and I'm like, well, not really,
Depends on, yeah, the key, the
because
scale.
because if I see an A sharp is used to like lead you to B, so I can play my A sharp a little sharper because I'm airing towards B.
Right.
Whereas if I see B flat would be heading down to A. So I'm gonna play my B flat a little flatter than I would an A sharp.
Mm.
And that just like blew my dad's brain. It was like the only time I think in my entire life.
Well, and that's like the that's another thing. What I was just saying, like with the slide thing, it's like those in between notes that are slightly sharp or flat, but they work. They're like,
Yeah.
and they're like lead ups into that in tune
Yep.
note you're going for. But it's almost like the beauty of what's before and after the note that
Yep.
you're coming to.
Plus,
That's
was it Billie Holiday? I think when they analyzed her voice, is like what made her like so fabulous and like so like sexy and so marvelous and warm and just the soulfulness of her voice. She's like an eighth of a tone flat consistently. She
right.
she sung a little flat, but
Right.
that was her style, and that's how she got that thick, soulful,
And well, even if it was
pain
like,
into her voice.
and if it's that minuscule, like an eighth of a tone,
Yeah,
it's like you wouldn't want to sing in the key that's you'd be, what, 3 or 7/8 of sharp.
right. So
So
she's
it's better to
right.
sing slightly.
Yeah, so she's not in a different key signature. It's not like hearing like that,
Yeah,
but
you're
it's
just hearing it like slightly. It's like an edge. Gives it an edge.
just enough, just enough.
That's like the beauty of modern music right there, because that's just breaking rules. That's breaking rules, classical
Right?
style, and it still sounds great. What's the the Comes Love? I love that song.
Yep.
Come love, nothing can be done.
Yeah.
Which I cannot sing like Billy. No. Well, this is an awesome conversation. What else do you want to get into? Life in general. What's the meaning of life? Jeez.
What's what like?
What's the meaning of life? No.
I think I asked you about your baby. I don't recall the answer. How's your
Oh,
little
she's doing great. She's getting big, man. I swear, it's like you just wake up some days, you're like, did you just grow 2 inches, or what happened last night?
one? Wow. How old is she now?
She'll be 2 and 5 months. 2 years and 5 months in like a week or something. Yeah, almost 2.5. All right. I don't say the 27-month thing or whatever it is. 29 months precisely.
I remember my husband like, when can we stop counting months?
Right.
I'm like, when the clothing people do.
Which that's frustrating as hell.
Right?
Everybody's different, man. Different sizes. Yeah, she's doing good though. She's doing really good. How's your daughter doing? Get big?
Oh, how's
Getting
she
old?
doing? Oh my God, she's 13.
Woo! Good luck. She playing in instruments?
She's 7th grade. She's an inch taller than me.
Oh.
She's beautiful. She took violin for a little bit, played in the 5th grade orchestra even. She was off and on the whole time growing up. I want to be just like Mama. And then she played violin for a little bit. She's like, and they're like, oh, you're just like your mom. And then she'd be over it. And then a little while they're like, oh, I want to be like Mama. And she'd play violin again. You're just like your mom. And then she'd be over it.
She's not like this. I got to be my own self.
So she gave it the good try in 5th grade, but she's double jointed in her thumb. So a good bow hold for her had her thumb like pop in, and it was like her like out of joint. It was painful for her. So dropped the violin. She's doing saxophone.
Huh.
Saxophone, piano. She wrote a song, did it at a talent show, did piano and sang.
That's cool.
Yep.
Right on. Good singer.
Very good singer.
Awesome.
Sings all the time. All the time. And then I tried to get her to do something in public. Shut the bedroom door, man. And she's like in there just belting it out.
Right. Got to get in her zone. Get in her own world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was like showing her ukulele a little or something, but.
Yes. Yeah. Ukulele. That's right. She does have a ukulele.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, that's a good one to. It's a good pre-guitar one, I always say. You learn a lot of the same chords and get the feel for the frets. That's cool though. Passing on the musical tradition.
But I've not been disciplined with her like my folks were with me. That
half-hour day.
Yeah. Come hell or high water until you graduate high school. I'm not doing that with her. I'm trying to like just softly encourage her. I don't want it to turn into a bad thing because out of the 6 kids in my family, 2/3 of them threw the instruments under the piano, and I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So there's only one other one that still plays, or of your siblings?
Yeah. So the other one that played up until he passed away, my oldest brother Mike, one of the trumpet players who could jump in on anything. He keyboard player. He was like Fender Rhodes that he played with in his band for a long time. He was in a lot of bands. Cool. And sang, and he was. I really looked up to him growing up. He died in 2007. Okay. And I started wearing Chuck tennis shoes out to gigs because that's a memory I have of him. He was 12 years older than me.
Oh, it's almost like uncle figure, sort of.
Yeah.
Older brother.
He got married to his first wife when I was in 2nd grade.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, but I hung around the bands all the time. When him and his friends would be practicing and gigs and stuff, it was I was little sis hanging around. Cool.
At least 2 out of 6 ain't bad, and your dad never stopped playing, right? Or
no, my dad never stopped
appreciation.
Playing. No, oh my gosh, so this is my dad. So for the month of August, my dad saved up all his vacation time. In the month of August, we'd pack up the International, 6 kids, a dog, all of our camping gear, my mom, my dad, and we would go camping. My dad's rustic camper, like haul the tent a quarter mile up the road because they don't allow the cars anymore. He just the more off grid, the happier my dad was. Nice. So for us, there's not a lot of room to pack instruments. So for us, it was like, woohoo! We don't have to practice. We're all like, woo! But then you'd be hiking through the woods. I was hiking through those with my brothers, and like somewhere else in the woods, we hear, like, oh my God, Dad brought his mouthpiece. Because he kept it in his like front left
Practice
pocket.
Your skills, guys.
Well, he's like, Ange, I don't know how you can go a length of time without practicing and still play as good as you do without having had practice. He goes, if I can't do that, I have no lip. I'm blowing notes. I can't do that. He goes, I have to keep my embouchure up. So my dad, he's 90 years old, and I can probably count the times on one hand that he has skipped the days that he has skipped practicing since he was 14 years old. Most disciplined musician I have ever known.
Wow, he's got to be incredible.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is some serious dedication. Wow. And he's especially that old and still.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't play out anymore.
Right.
He doesn't play out anymore. He's got, I was going to say OCD.
He still has the love for it.
Pulmonary stuff. COPD.
Oh, okay. That's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So,
that's cool. He still has the love for it, though. That it,
what he wants it to be. But
I gotcha.
But he was, he's been hospitalized at least 3 times that I can recall because of pneumonia, like collapsing at home from lack of oxygen, ambulance ride to the hospital for pneumonia. And the respiratory therapist walks in with those little breathing machines. And my dad just, it just like blows the top off those things. So it's like saved his life. Saved his life. His lung capacity and his discipline to get through that in the way that he can like breathe all the way down, kick that pneumonia in the butt every time.
He'd probably be an incredible didgeridoo player.
Yeah.
Circular breathing. That's what it is. It's like that's great. Supposedly that's great for lung capacity.
That's kind of one of those.
That's interesting that like you said, he doesn't know how you do it without practice, but it's like muscle memory, and like, you ever heard the like the 10,000 hour rule? Once you practice 10,000 hours, it's just like you don't necessarily need to anymore, because anything you've already played, you can like come back to.
Yep.
So it's I guess if you practice as long as him, it's like, I mean, how much stuff can you play or memorize?
I do that with my students. That same exact thing. My college professor at DePaul, Mark Singer, Angie Crazy Girl. This is so common sense. I should have been doing this for years, but he had me practicing something, and I played it and I blew it during my lesson. Played it again, blew it. Played it again, blew it. Played it again and got it right, and so I kept playing. And he was like, "Oh no, Angie Crazy Girl, stop!" He made me go back to that like one measure that I kept blowing until I got it right again, and then I had to play that passage 20 times. And so I have my students do that too. It's like we work through it, play it slower, get the notes, fine tune your intonation, get the rhythm. Okay, now you got it. Repeat it 5 times, 7 times, 10 times. Yeah, because I only have these kids for a half hour. So if I say at home, I'm writing in your book for mom to see, get it right. Then the repetition starts, because it's just I played it wrong. I played it wrong. I played it wrong. I played it right. Woohoo! I get to go on.
Yeah.
So every time I come to that passage, I taught my fingers how to play it wrong 7 times. I only taught them how to play it right once. So that repetition, yeah, for sure. And so my kids, when I even it's down to like 3 notes, dump, bum, 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 like a string crossing or something. Just those 3 notes. I don't care about all that other stuff. Just these 3 notes, and once they get it, and I see like the little eyes roll, like I'm making it do it. I'm like, but you know what? As soon as your eyes start rolling, that's when you played it right, because you're not thinking through it anymore. Your fingers are doing it. Did you notice that the smoothest you just played that was when you're like,
just comes naturally, no hesitation. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, just focus on the little things and work them out. Because it will just come naturally. That's kind of the beauty of music too. Like the muscle memory just comes through you once you've done it so much.
And that's a hard hump to get over as a musician. Is when you like get all starry eyed, like I want to play violin and I want to play guitar, and then it's like crap. It's work. This is a lot of work.
I think that's the biggest challenge when either you're young or just first starting out in general. You gotta get past. I mean, I remember as guitar, just like frets, like your fingers literally hurt from pressing down.
Yeah.
And like now I have permanent calluses, but like I could play for like a week and they'd still be there. You know, obviously they get tougher when you play 3-4 shows in a row. But until you get to that point, you're like, I got soft fingertips. What, you know? I mean, it's the same with fiddle. Right. That's on my fingers.
I show my students, I just have ruts in my fingertips from my strings. And luckily being a music teacher, that Christmas music pops up like just when I need it. When these kids, like, they're getting schoolwork, now they're getting a lot of homework, and then plus they have to find time after soccer practice and dance lessons, and kids are so busy. Plus I practice and like, I don't like this song anymore. And then it's like Christmas music is like, oh, hey, you want to play Jingle Bells? Yeah! And then they love their instrument again.
And then there's usually some type of like school performance presentation.
Yep.
Involved with Christmas and whatnot. Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yep. And I do a Christmas recital, and
nice.
And we have punch and cookies, and it's a big party. It's not a hardcore sweating. We pick out our songs way ahead of time, and that's something from the classical world that really kind of bummed me out. I had friends back in Chicago growing up who were very serious. Their parents would pull them from school, homeschool them, so that they could have 4 or 5 hours a day to practice. Just insane, the amount of pressure. And so a friend of mine, she was a cellist, and she was in one of the big wig competitions, like the international concerto competitions. And to make it is like awesome.
Right.
But so she made it. She was going through like different rounds, and got up to the final thing, and she came in second. And her parents came down on her so hard. She quit.
Wow.
Like didn't even like quit like competitions or quit
everything.
Put down the instrument and said, because it just turned into her doing it for her parents. And that's what I don't want to do with my kid. That's why I'm like, it's such a fine line. You got to have the discipline. You have to get over those humps of not wanting to play. You can't quit the first bump you come to, the first hard thing you come to.
Yeah. You have to understand it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, but you can't be so driving. And that's kind of a balance I'm constantly trying to find as a teacher. Is trying to push the kids, through these humps, through the hard parts, through the challenges. But if their goal isn't to go to college and major in judo, violent performance,
right,
or Carnegie Hall, or they don't want to be Chicago Symphony, then hey, is there another genre of music you want to play?
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Yeah,
how about a Disney princess tune?
Right, and that's what I figured, like you said, with Christmas, because it's already something they're familiar with.
Yeah.
So like the melody's already memorized, just like how do you play it now? But that's almost like, because I used to be in orchestra, and I always felt like if I would have learned something I was into or modern, I might have just like gotten that much more into it, because essentially that's what turned me on to music so much, just like writing modern stuff and all that jazz. It took me after the fact to really appreciate classical music and what have you.
Right. I mean, and I try to tell my students, I'm like, I try to be very honest with them. It's like, because I've had students like on the borderline of tears, because I'm trying to get them to do something that I know that they can do, but for some reason they just have a block that day to doing it. Is to try to work them through it. And so I'll just very honestly, I'll be like, okay, I know that this is hard for you. I know that this is challenging for you. So let's take a step back. Let's relax. Let's play something again. Sometimes even like drop a piece for a while, go back to something else, maybe, a little easier, just so they can get that like, oh God, I can play something again. I did
like relief.
Myself. I'm still trying to push myself and play something with the symphony or playing something. I'm just like, I should just retire. This is nuts. I can't do this.
Right. So
go back and play something you can't. Like renew your love for it again. Like that whole courtship thing you got to do again. It's like, oh, I do love you.
Yes.
I think you still like me too. But then try to push him again. But I'm very honest about it. That what this is just a technique that we are going to work on, because and I'll demonstrate. Here it is in this song. Here it is in this song. Here it is in this same thing, this foundation is going to make, it's hard now, but it's going to make a lot of other stuff easier. Promise, I promise.
Right.
So, but I love teaching. It really is. It's a passion of mine.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're a good teacher. Yeah, it seems like to keep them balanced like that and not put they have so much pressure nowadays as kids, and to put that extra pressure of like, you must do this exactly right. And
I mean,
a teacher can make all the difference, it really can.
I mean, all day long they're tested. I also work special ed in the middle school, and it's just they got to take all these tests. They got to be like, it's just
meet the standard. And
I did a lot more homework, a lot more tests. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and plus they're doing 500 million things. Like I remember picking one thing. I think I played soccer. Yeah. I didn't do soccer and basketball and dance class and swimming on Saturday mornings and this and this and this and this.
And you're still busy enough, as a kid.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we were outside, played kickball in the street. Kids don't. These kids these days.
Times have changed, damn it. No. Yeah, but I mean, that's cool though that you kind of give them, you're honest with them, and then you remind them of kind of like the balance of, not being too hard on yourself, but not being too much of a slacker either.
Right. Like I have a student right now who he had another teacher. I'm kind of taking him over.
Yeah.
Really not into playing violin. Really not into it. He's got grandpa's violin, and the parents are like, you're learning this thing, and really just wants to goof around on the piano all the time. I've seen him and I'm watching him, and so now that he's just my student, I had the heart to heart. I'm like, so how do you feel about the violin? And he got that little polite smile, like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, tell me the truth. You hate it, don't you? You think it sucks, don't you? It's really hard, isn't it? And he just started laughing. I'm like, just be honest with me. That's the only thing I ask. I'm going to be honest with you. Be honest with me. I don't take it personally. It's not like you're telling me you don't like me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your thing. I get that. I said, but I've seen you goof around that piano. So let's talk chords. Let's talk this. And I started him on this really simple fiddle tune. I call it the Twinkle of Bluegrass. It's at Cripple Creek. Bum, 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 bum. Real simple bare bone tune. But you get you can add runs to it, you can slide around it, you can play double stops with it. So we got talking like that language that my dad had with me, that conversation about, when you ask a question, hey, where are you going? No, no, no. And your voice goes up. I'm going home. And the voice comes down. So we talked about the A major scale and, the tonic, the A and the E being the dominant. And when we end on E, twinkle. La, 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 la. You don't leave it there because that's the dominant of the song. La, 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 la. Bring it home. So we totally switched our my teaching with him to here's the 1 chord, here's the 5 chord. And even though like violinists don't think in chords, it's a piano thing and a guitar thing.
You're not doing chords too often, I suppose. But yeah.
Right. But I want him to like music again.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to use now the violin is just a teaching tool to learning all this cool stuff that's going to translate to whatever instrument.
And he's getting into it. And he likes it, and he's enjoying himself.
Yeah,
and that's half the battle. You just got to enjoy it. Like, what else are you gonna really dedicate yourself to or be passionate about if you're not like enthusiastic about it or enjoying it at the same time? You can't be miserable. Like, I just do this to make my parents happy. God damn it.
Yeah, because you know what? You're not learning a lot when that's your mindset.
You're
shut down. You're shut down.
Or like me, I would learn just enough to blend in with the rest of the orchestra. And then I would I eventually bought a guitar and was just like, that took over. You know what I mean? It was just like,
yeah.
So that's why I can barely play violin anymore. Cause at the time I wasn't passionate about it. So it's like, if someone would have taught me some modern stuff or play by ear, I guess too.
And that's what I hope to do, to teach him stuff of like, I'm like, just listen to it. No matter what you turn on the radio, you're going to hear, just sit on the piano and play a 1, 4, 5. It's like, you're going to hear that now. And you're going to be able to. And so my piano teacher, when I was growing up, was very much into chords. She taught me as much theory as she did just playing songs. It wasn't just playing songs with her.
Right.
I'd have to turn my back to the piano and she'd play a chord. Major, minor, diminished, or augmented. Diminished.
Wow.
Prunk. Major, minor, diminished, or augmented. Minor. she put happy birthday.
It's a feeling.
Yeah, she put happy birthday on the stand. She's like, oh. She'd be like, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. Then she's like, here's happy birthday. It's in the key of D. I want you to play it in the key of G. Go. Oh, so it's like you'd have to Crazy.
And that one's tricky. Happy birthday, that weird scale.
That was up through like high school. I was doing that stuff in junior high school and high school. And then so my first 2 years of college at DePaul, breeze. It was like what I learned in junior high school.
Wow. So you're kind of advanced.
Yeah.
From all this persistence and trainings, practicing.
Yeah. But she was teaching me as a musician. Because now, like when I play with you or I play with anybody and they're like, we're in G. I immediately think, okay, G, C, D, maybe an E minor. It's like I have like 90% of the song kind of mapped out. I just got to figure out what order. Maybe they're going to do 4 and 5, or maybe they'll go 1, 5 to the 4. Like, they went down to. So I can get the lay of the land quickly.
And I think, you're incredible. Like I said, we never actually practiced, but I think you sound great, and you accompany very well. Am I saying that right? Accompaniment?
Yes. And okay, so another thing to my piano teacher that I think of as I'm playing with you and everybody is that the song is the whole song. Like you've got lyrics, you've got great lyrics, and you tell a story in your song. You don't need me up there noodling away the whole entire thing, because man, I got more than 2 licks by now to like playing every song.
You understand, yes, the song as a whole.
You just stop playing once in a while. I play with those people, those guitar players, those fiddle players. They're like, they never stop playing.
Or it's like, why would you come up with like a completely different melody when it's your turn to do a solo? That's like, sure, we're in the same key and all, but we were singing around this area. Now we're like off in.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Exactly. It's just a matter of. It's almost like simple if you actually break it down, but people complicate things.
So here's something else that my piano teacher taught me that has transcended into whatever I do for music. Was that in piano, when you press the key, it lingers, right?
Sustains, yeah.
So it just sustains. So some of my students, and so I was doing this obviously, where I was playing a note. And if a rest happened, I was counting the rest, but without lifting my fingers, so you still hear the sound.
Yeah.
So she was talking about that. She's like, no, they wrote a rest. Rests are supposed to be silent. Your finger is still on the note. I hear it, not a rest.
Right. It's supposed to come up.
She taught at her home, and she had this little table with a lamp on it beside her piano, and she with a lace tablecloth. And she was like, do you know what the name of this cloth is? And I said, yeah, that's lace. And she said, do you know what makes lace pretty and fancy looking? And I'm like, the kind of thread, the kind of material. She goes, the holes. The hole. If this didn't have holes in it, it would just be a plain white sheet. It's the holes that make this really interesting.
So it's the silence between the notes. Whoa. Mind blowing.
I know, right? So yeah, and just those teaching moments that just finger out into everything are brilliant.
And what's the saying? It's almost like, the notes you don't play are equally as important as the notes you do play.
Yeah.
So it's knowing when not to as much as when to.
Yeah. And that's in everything. That's in talking to people.
Exactly. When to listen.
Shut up and listen once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we all have that problem to it. Well, that's why everyone's so eager to, post and comment and express what they're feeling. But when people you do the same, do you give them the same attention that you want? Is what I'm saying, basically. You know what I mean? And that's that's actually another reason why I kind of started this, because it's like I don't really like communicating through words and comments, and
it's hard. That's
hard. You can't hear the tone of someone's voice. You can't see body language. I mean, those are huge. So I mean, this just seems like we were just like hanging out. We're just like
Yep. I probably do the overkill on the little colon parentheses for a smiley face, or the little LOLs or JK, because when I first started emailing to people, I had a friend thought I was like really pissed off at her because I wrote an email and I knew what I meant to say, but she read it with a totally different inflection. And she came at me with like all nails hanging out. And I'm like, what the hell got into you?
Just put a whole other tone on the sentence. Yeah. Well, it's almost like you have to like really, really know someone to like hear them say how they would say it. Like, I mean, how the hell can you understand sarcasm when typing things? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably the most misunderstood, being sarcastic.
Yes.
No, you were serious.
My husband is like the king of that. He'll just write back a really like short, sarcastic, whatever, and I'll be like, "What?" And I know my husband, and I can hear him saying it in his head, but it's just somehow, depending on what else is going on, maybe something else is going on that's like traffic, whatever, has put me in a different mindset, so that when I read that, I'm reading it in the mindset I'm currently in, not in the way he meant it, or so it's hard.
It's almost like similar to playing the same like note pattern, but you play it with a different feel or pitch, or like.
Yeah.
I suppose the dynamic of how you play or say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like how I try to do it, like throwing my two licks in every song. Well, and my dad nailed me on it.
I think you've come a long way since the two licks.
But this one's in a different key. Same lick.
I've known some players like that. They get in their comfort zone. Like, I'm awesome, but wait a second.
Yeah, I played with a slide player who did that. He figured out that one note that stays the same in all the different chord changes. So it was just, and so he would hit it every chord change. And he was like right behind me. And I was just turning around like, are there any other notes on that instrument? You try to think of like how to politely say something. If it was just like a sit-in gig, and I was just there for the night, I would have been like, oh my God, that was like annoying. But thankfully I never have to do it again.
Right.
But this was in a band that we were going to do more stuff together. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to handle that every night.
Right. And that can be a challenge too, just kind of working with musicians in general. But when it works, it works.
Yeah. Well, what I did was like, hey, I really like that one thing that you do. Can I play that with you, or if I do a harmony note with you, or like I do this here, would you play this with me? And I try to break out of that same pattern every night that way, because it's just and that's one thing that Owen was really good at, was and a lot of musicians that I admire is not only their playing, but their being, their person, their soul, how they can be so gracious and nice, and even with something that's annoying. And so you tour, and there was a conversation one time about what do you look for when you're picking up musicians to tour with, and everyone's like, the overwhelming, just from people who have been there, done that, was take people you like, take people that you like, take people that you can be in a stinky car with, and like you haven't done laundry in 2 weeks, and you get that seventh flat tire out in the middle of nowhere. Pick people that that'll handle that.
Yeah, people aren't naturally high strung or sensitive to
there's
a rougher lifestyle.
There's a lot of good fiddle players out there. There's a lot of good guitar players out there. There's a lot of egos out there. So pick
Oh,
the
yeah.
people. Pick the people that you like, that are like laid back, gonna be able to handle it, roll with the punches. Because there's gonna be punches.
And that's a good point too, because it's like I've played with some incredible players who just have the biggest ego, and it's like, your attitude outweighs your talent. Like,
Right.
I don't care how good you are, I can't stand being around you.
Right.
After or before the show.
Shows on stage. That shows.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Stage.
Yeah.
It follows you around.
And it works when you all work together, and it's I guess I've gone through both aspects of it, like solo and full band, but it can be hard to just find like a good group of players who are all functional. And I mean, you're still going with Mad Polecats, and right?
Yep.
Still a lot of the same members, and
Yep. And that band has like, mushroomed and then gotten skinny again, and mushroomed and
right.
gotten skinny again, and it's kind of fun to. Ooh, now we've got a electric guitar player. We didn't have that before. You're like, oh, well, now you do this, and so
the transitions and evolving.
Yep. It's good to go through that.
Right.
And roll with it, because even though you might resist it at first, because it's like, we always do this song this way.
Right, we're so used to it.
Right. It's good to it's good to break out of that. Breaking out of your box, out of your comfort zone, and
sometimes that's some of my favorite shows. Just improvising something on the spot.
Yeah.
Song you've done so many times. You're like, let's just do it different. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and sometimes when I hear like a mandolin player, like with Bob and Dig Deep, I'll hear him play something, and we're tuned to the same mandolin and violin, so we're in the same register. But that's obviously a strumming thing, and I got a bow, but he'll play some stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna practice that. I want to learn that. That was kind of cool, like what you just did. So to not just learn from other violin players, I try to learn from other instruments, from other musicians. It's kind of fun. My husband's a blues guitar player, and he'll do some stuff, and him and I were jamming, and he was he likes the blues. He likes to play the blues, but he also likes Pink Floyd and Frank Zappa and stuff that I didn't really listen to a lot growing up, but
a little out there, a little.
Yeah, but just sitting around with him and jamming out to some of this stuff, or the guitar licks that are so iconic to some of these
right,
pieces.
the Gilmore, and
yeah, it's like, I want to play that.
And that's like a lot of blues is like pentatonic scale and rock bass, so you kind of get that other.
Yep.
I think that I always think it's like that scale, like in between the major, minor, that kind of can fit with everything in its own right, I guess.
Yep.
But I guess that's the blues for you. A lot of sevenths, at least in my realm of blues, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get to those jazzers who are talking the Dorian and the Phrygian and the Lydian and all these modes, and I'm like,
oh, then you're going crazy.
Wow, I remember studying that in school.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we can figure it out by ear, right? Yeah, just keep playing. Just play the song. I'll get it.
Wow, let me dig out my old textbooks and look that one up again.
Right.
Yikes.
Well,
room to grow. Always room to grow. Rule number 1, get better.
Right. Well, and, I think it's really cool that, I guess you didn't really consistently play with anybody for so long, and then it's like, boom, 10 years ago, through Owen, you're thrown into this awesome web of your network of musicians.
Yep.
And now it's kind of been consistent ever since. At least you're maintaining at least enough, doing live shows of the modern stuff more, and what have you.
Yeah.
Having a little more fun, maybe.
Yeah, and these bands are just so varied within that band. I remember my when I would tell my mom, hey mom, now I'm playing with this band this weekend. Well, what kind of music do they play? Well, these guys, they're kind of blues, kind of bluegrassish, kind of rock, kind of like a little bit heavier stuff. Some of them were like metal players, but now they're doing bluegrass instruments. And my mom just after the 10th time of describing like different bands to her. She stopped. She goes, "When are you gonna play in a band when you can tell me what kind of music it is in less than 10 words?" I'm like, you know what? I hope never.
I hope they don't exist. Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, it's like
Mom, I do have one band like that. It's called Symphony.
yeah, it's like classical music.
But even that Beloit Janesville Symphony. Our conductor is a jazz guitar player. He's a phenomenal guitar player. So we've got a concert coming up, and it's all Latin music. We have a guitarist coming out of Chicago to do a Latin guitar concerto. So yeah, even the symphony isn't really stuck in a rut.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is cool to keep it fresh, change it up a little. Well, that's the thing with like with the circle of modern musicians. I guess in a sense it is a similar style, but like you said, every band has their own unique fusion or mixture of styles, and you're kind of one's like another, but really none of them are. I mean, even the Dig Deep's not really much like the Ditch Runners in a way, right? Come back to that. Yeah. I mean, in their own sense.
Yep. So so I've been doing music for almost 50 years now, and
wow,
I don't think I've ever been bored.
That's awesome. Congratulations. It's incredible. And only for 10 years you've been on this more modern thing, and you're doing a lot of big things with it. You're playing with a lot of cool bands, so
yeah,
respect.
So I'm still used to like the technology part of it. So
well, we figured out this Zoom app, so
yay!
That's very good. But if there's anything you want to conclude with or send out to the interweb people,
out into the World Wide Web,
into the ether.
Man, just I don't know. I just hope that everybody can just be happy and just find out what gives you joy and peace. And fly with that. And if it's music, cool. If it's listening to music, cool. If it's being an engineer, does whatever floats your boat. It's just we all need each other.
Right.
And when people come and tell me that I really like the fiddle, because it's such a novel instrument for some genres of music. So which I take ownership. So when they're like all about, and the band kind of rolls their eye, going for the fiddle player again. It's not just because of me and I'm so phenomenal. I know that because I am not phenomenal. It's just that they haven't seen a fiddle player play Jethro Tull.
Right.
That's a bad example because he played flute. That's pretty close. But you know what I mean.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But then I always I'm so thankful to people in the crowd, because you know what? I am so thankful for you because of you guys like getting into it and dancing. That makes us all play 10 times better, because we've all been there, done that, where you're playing a gig to 3 people with their backs to you at the bar, more interested in the Packers game than what
background music. Yeah.
Oh man, the time just goes tick, tick,
right,
tick, and you play a song, and everybody's just like, what song do you want to do next? I don't care. What song do you want to do next? I don't care, man. And it's just the energy. It's just like, And
then you play for a great crowd who listens. You feel time. You can play all night. Time goes by quick.
And you see the sound guy like this, like 10 minutes left to go. Holy crap! We've been playing for 4 hours already. Oh my god, no! I want to do more.
Yes, the fans and listeners are equally as important. Without
and
what would we have?
Guy. When you have with like feedback and no monitor, and you got great sound and just everything. It's just everybody's just, it's a whole thing, and that's
energy of a venue.
Works.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to work together.
Be together, man.
We got to be aware and present of each other.
Yep. And that's what I love about you. You're into that. Yeah, like you're that. Oh yeah, you are, man. You exude this peacefulness, this love, and I appreciate that about you.
Oh, and that's what I appreciate that, and that's what I guess I'm trying to like put forth through the music. It doesn't always come through. Well, it depends on who you're asking, but it doesn't always resonate, I suppose. But trying to put that out there. And that's another thing, too. I would love to, get you on some recordings. I know you talked about, you've never been into the that Janesville studio. That's where I've done a couple of drum tracks there. And so even if I'm not there, you could I could pay for the studio time, and I lost.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
And stuff. Yeah, we've already done stuff. I'm like, man, this would be awesome if we recorded this.
I keep driving by that place. I'm like, recording studio. Huh.
Yeah, and the guy's really cool. Derek, he's an awesome guy. He's got a couple of his own bands. He has this whole network of Janesville musicians. So that could be a whole nother little thing you get introduced to. I know I'm sure some of the Mad Polecat guys, Grizzly knows them, but
all right.
I'm
sure
some of those.
I'll pop in. I'll be like, hey, Jacob sent me.
Like, no. I haven't been there since when was it? I was there last summer. Yeah, I was there last summer. We were recording drum tracks. But yeah, and then it's also the community radio station. And
oh, sweet. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the main host. I think there's multiple actual hosts, but yeah, it's WADR Janesville Community Radio.
I'm definitely stopping
out. Totally. You're not too far from there.
No, I'm 15, 20 minutes away.
Yeah, I was going to say, right? The north end of Janesville, yeah.
Stupidly close.
You should definitely stop in. I mean, I don't know how often he's actually there, but yeah. Either way. Well, it was great talking to you. I think that went by just like you said, like a show. It goes by quickly.
When you're having fun.
It's easy, having fun, laid back. There's no need to be nervous and all the badness.
I'm so nervous about this.
We figured out the Zoom app. Yeah, I'll definitely I'll do some cool clips.
I'm so nervous, I make notes.
Stuff. What have I done my whole life? No.
I know.
Making pinpoints, chronological order. Well, let's stay in touch, and I'll let you know.
For sure.
I'll give you a preview when it's about to come out. It might be what is it, March? So maybe April or May. Get it going.
Okay.
Because I think you're the 14th or 15th episode or something. It's stocking up here.
That is awesome.
It's overwhelming, but I think it could be really cool because it's having a different guest. Everyone brings in their own little circle of people to check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So people who know you might check out someone else. And then all the while, I'm just sitting there hey.
Whoa.
My show, bro. It's my show. No. I don't know. I thought this would be a cool idea. Just interact with people more, and it's just more personal, what have you. So
Agreed. Well, thanks for asking me to do this. This was quite the honor to do this.
Yeah, no, thanks for being on.
As nervous as you made me, man. This was fun.
Sorry, I have that effect on people. No. It's the Zoom app. It's the technology, the devices.
I know, right?
Well, that's the thing.
The
funny thing was, the funny thing was I had to, because we were scheduled from earlier, and then the next guy, he couldn't do it either because he couldn't get his app working, and I'm just oh man, it's one of those days. So I'm glad this worked out. But I got one, so that's good. One today.
Well, I learned a lot about transmissions today, so that was good.
Oh God, that's fun. I've had my share of vehicle issues this winter too, so I can relate. But it was awesome talking to you. Let's stay in touch. And I don't know. I wish I knew the next time I'll be in Wisconsin, but hopefully in the near future.
Okay, very cool.
I'll be doing some gigs, and I'll look into that Brooklyn place.
Yes,
Music and More.
I'll send you a link to it. Main Street Music and More.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thanks
again. Great talking to you. Peace.
And here, peace. Love you.
Peace.